what's it called? What was the other one? Oh, Sword Art Online. I agree so much, man. Like season one, and I always have to say part one of season one. I
Yes.
think Sword Art Online is really fucking good. Like it's
Yeah.
really interesting. There is mystery. You're intrigued, but once they solve the first part of Sword Art Online and they end up going to like Elfheim Online, I think it starts to get really bad. Like
Yeah. It gets awful. I
yeah,
I think the part of Sword Art Online that I really liked was I try to put myself, as I often do, in the situation of the main character. What would it be like if I got sucked into an actual MMORPG and I was a character and I had a level, I had stats and all that stuff? How cool that would be, but also how scary that would be because they
yeah,
said in the
yeah,
beginning that if you die in it, you die in the real world and all that. That I don't like that part of it, but I would like the idea of literally having my consciousness transferred into an MMO as long as it's like, safe and I'm not going to die and I'm not going to suffer any physical ailments or anything like that. That seems cool as shit to me. And
yeah.
that prospect of it, when it first started, you see him in the bed and he's connected and all that, and they try to log out and then the menu's like, you can't log out. That prospect of it was cool, but then it loses its luster so quick.
Yeah,
And
but like, yeah, when the first half of season one, there were so many interesting things they did. Where, for example, after they've been in it for so long, they fought all these like battles and they've climbed up to like the 80th floor. It was really cool where when I don't remember how long it was, maybe 2 episodes, but when him and Asuna kind of like settled down and they
yeah,
found like a little house on like the 40th floor. It was like this nice little house, and they settled and like lived together for a little bit, and then you see how there's people they've been in this game for a year 2 years now. Eventually you just have to live your life, and so there's some people who aren't going out to challenge the super hard bosses, and they're just living their life like they found a house and they just kind of live out in this MMO world, this fantasy world. And that's really, and then there's the drama and mystery of other things where the one thing when Kirito is traveling with like that one party and they go into a cave and like the whole party gets slaughtered and he like watches them
yeah,
all die. Like all of that was interesting. And then I don't know. We don't got to talk about where it goes.
yeah. It just goes to a place that I'm not really a fan of. And I remember watching season 2 where it's like Gungrave, I think was the name of it, and he had a sword in a game where everyone else had a gun. I was like, and he was also a woman for some reason. I was like, okay, like this has an interesting prospect. He has a lightsaber. I'm a big fan of that. But even that season, it just kind of dragged.
Mm-hmm.
I remember losing interest in it halfway through. And then I said, you know what? I'm done with this anime. Like I just kind of quit the anime in general. I said, I'm not watching any more Sword Art Online. I'm good with this. Like I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
completely good on. I'm good on this, and I just haven't gone back to it. So I don't know what it's doing these days. I don't know how the kids feel about it, uh, but yeah, as far
The
as
opening is still
mystery,
fire though.
yeah, oh yeah. But as far as like what Vincent's saying on the mystery and how that is what keeps people, watching and engaged, and that's what makes these things good. Yeah, I agree. Because when we thought the Night King was a real character and Game of Thrones or was going to have some amazing backstory and some amazing lore to him, that made him seem cool. That made Game of Thrones better. And then come to find out, it's just like, nope, the Night King is just. I
Dude,
mean,
that's
a guy who got put up against a tree and stabbed in the heart and became the Night King, and that's all we got. Like we got nothing else,
it was oof.
and he never spoke.
Oof.
Big oof. So
He also died in one little
night,
dagger stab.
yeah, yeah, no pun intended, but he died in one night. So I just think it went out so bad, but we don't have to harp. All right. So then to finish out this listener letter, Vincent says, that being said, I find My Hero Academia to be very unbearable. Story wise, it doesn't have too much going for it. My Hero Academia doesn't have that underlying mystery that looms as a threat. We only see kids train, have some kind of hype arc, only for them to go back to school. Don't get me wrong, there are a handful of touching and incredible moments, but the in between of it all is very lackluster. The last thing I'll say in regards to My Hero is I can't stand subbed Bakugo whatsoever. Probably wouldn't be able to stand him as dubbed too, but his overall story and character development is good. But does he have to have ear piercingly scream every time he's on screen? Does he have to be one of the most obnoxious main characters ever? He literally makes any episode he shows up on screen unwatchable. It just ruins whatever little enjoyment I had of the episode as it was. Mic drop. So, uh, needless to say, I totally disagree about My Hero. I do think My Hero actually does have the lore and the mystery to it that make it interesting because to this day, so I'm current in the manga. We still don't know all the secrets of One for All and All for One. That mystery is huge. And spoiler alert for people who are not caught up on the manga of My Hero, or like close to being caught up. I just want to talk about this one little thing, but there are other people who were predecessors of Deku, and Deku was unlocking their quirks one by one. So already he has like danger sense, which is the Spidey sense, which is insane. He has the whip thing that he got first, which is like Spider-Man but on crack because it's just an energy whip and it's huge. And he got the ability to fly because his master could fly. And there's like two other people, and there's a couple more quirks that he's gonna get. That alone for me is like keeping me anxious about the future of the show. Like I really want to know what's going on. But also there was this little arc, and they just showed it in the current anime this season. I just got to it because I'm currently watching the current season. They just showed the part about how it started, like how All for One and One for All started, whereas the younger brother didn't have a quirk, or so the older brother thought, and he forced a quirk on his younger brother, which happened to be One for All. But his younger brother ended up having a quirk, and the quirk was to transfer his quirk. That was his quirk. His quirk is just to be able to transfer power from one thing to another. So anyway, that little backstory about the two brothers and how like the older brother wanted to change the world and take quirks from people who didn't want them and give them to people who he felt like could better use them. Obviously, he's doing it for his own shady reasons because he has people in his pocket when he does that. Like, I give you powers, you want power. I take your power away because you don't want to be a bird your whole life. Stuff like that. That's interesting to me. Also, and we're coming up very close on doing our My Hero Academia episode. I think in April for sure we'll probably have it done because I'm already watching the current season. Kenny's going to do the same, but we're going to do a full episode on My Hero. We both really like it, and I think that the latest manga arcs, like the last two or three, have been some of the absolute best manga I've ever seen. Like it's so good. Now I don't know how, like the way you feel about the anime, like that's fine. Bakugo is very annoying for sure in the anime because he does have to yell a lot, and that's just kind of his trope. And all of the characters though in My Hero are super hardcore tropes of like whatever their personality trait is, you kind of just see it constantly. So I always think of Bonetta, the guy with the grapes all over his head. He's a pervert, and pretty much every time you see him speak or hear him say anything, it's always going to be perverted. That's just kind of like how My Hero works. And for whatever, like I'm okay with it. Like I'm just kind of okay with the characters being exactly who they are always. Bakugo is a hothead. He also thinks he's so fucking cool. But like I've gained so much respect for Bakugo, and I think Kenny has too, that it's just one of those things where I'm not mad at him. I'm sorry, I'm just not mad at Bakugo. I'm just not mad at him.
Yeah, there's I mean, there's a lot. I'll save a lot of it for when we just do the actual My Hero episode, but I think that there are some things to delve into that I'll save. One of the big things for My Hero though that I think draws me to it is sort of the inspiration of the show. What the show tries to inspire, like it creates that feel good feeling when you watch it and you see it. Like it tries to put you in like a deep. It does the superhero thing where it creates these dark, deep situations, and then it has a character that tries to be this beacon of light and pull people out of the depths. And it's like that whole thing, the All Might, like always saving people with a smile. Like even really early on during one of the training exams, Deku's running around saving people, and he loses points because the one guy says like, "You look worried. You're a hero. You're not supposed to, like." And it's like a realization, like Deku's like, he can't look worried, all this other stuff. So that inspiration, the feeling of My Hero is one of the big things I really like about it. And then also, Bakugo has like a whole really big, interesting character arc. But I'm going to save that.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that either because I was going to expand on the Bakugo thing because you just reminded me of how he started off in the anime. And that big reveal about him being a big fan of All Might came out of nowhere, and I love that. I love how, and it made sense though once you realize why he hated Deku so much. So we will talk about this in our My Hero episode. So let's just table that discussion for another time. But I do like My Hero a lot. It's actually one of my favorite anime. Like it's probably in my top, I don't know, 15 or something ever. Like I really think it's well done. And Japan's take on heroes, I prefer the Japanese take on heroes over the American take, which is like the MCU and the DC and all that stuff. I'm gonna be honest, like I've never really been too big of a fan. Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the I Am Nerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.